All right, let's dive in, shall we? Startup dreams, huh? Building something amazing from scratch. It's a thrill, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's what you're diving into today. This guide we've got, it's awesome. It takes you through the whole startup journey. And better yet, it throws in tips on tackling the bumps in the road.
It really does. I mean, come on, competition's going to be there, right? The cash flow, it's not always smooth sailing, and let's be honest, criticism.
Oof, yeah. Criticism can be tough, but this guide, it covers all that and more. We're going to unpack it all, lay out how to launch a startup and actually make it, successful.
And what really grabbed my attention right off the bat was this. It's all about solving a real problem, not just jumping on some trendy bandwagon. You gotta find a genuine need out there in the market. Figure out what needs fixing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But where do you even start with that? I mean, how do you pinpoint a problem that's actually worth tackling?
Great question. The guide has some cool suggestions. Think about your own experiences, right?
Yeah.
What frustrates you as a consumer, those pain points.
Like when you can't find that one specific cable and you've got a drawer full of them.
Exactly, that kind of thing. Or look at what's already out there. See if
Yeah.
any parts of the market are being ignored or underserved. Just be observant. Really listen to what people are complaining about and look for patterns, opportunities.
Gotcha. So you've zeroed in on your problem. Now what? Everyone's got ideas, but how do you make yours the one that stands out?
That's where your unique value proposition comes in, the UVP.
Ah, yes. I've heard of that, but
It boils down to this. Why should someone pick your solution over all the others?
makes sense, but competition. It's a jungle out there. How do you handle all those rivals? Any tips from the guide on how to stand your ground?
Oh, yeah, it dives into that. Two big things. First, innovation. Can you do it better, faster, cheaper than anyone else? Second, niche targeting.
Yeah.
Can you focus on a specific slice of the market that's kind of neglected?
Like a travel agency for, I don't know, left-handed underwater basket weaving enthusiasts.
Haha. Well, maybe not that specific, but yeah. Find your niche and you'll stand out. Okay, so we've got the idea, the UVP. What about the dreaded business plan?
Ugh, business plans.
Oh.
Always feels a bit overwhelming, right?
They can be, but this guide makes it way less scary. Think of it like a roadmap. It's there to guide you, not box you in.
Okay, so what's on this roadmap?
You'll outline things like your executive summary, really dive into market analysis, and yeah, those financial projections.
Financial projections. That's the part that makes me sweat.
I get it. It can be a bit intimidating. But good news. The guide's point is it's less about predicting the future perfectly and more about just thinking things through. Start conservatively and be ready to adapt.
Okay, phew. That takes some of the pressure off. Speaking of things that can be a little stressful, funding.
Can't launch a startup without it. The guide goes through a whole bunch of options like bootstrapping, where you're using your own resources.
The good old DIY approach.
Exactly. Then there's seeking external funding through venture capital, crowdfunding, even loans.
So many options. How do you pick the right one?
That depends on what you're aiming for. Bootstrapping, more control, maybe slower growth. Venture capital, big money, but they expect fast results and you might give up some control. Crowdfunding, great for proving your idea works, but you need a strong marketing game. Loans, well, those come with interest payments.
And of course, the guide's realistic. It reminds us, rejection. It's part of the game.
It is, but it has great advice for upping your chances of getting that funding. Tailor your pitch. Make it specific to who you're talking to.
Investors, lenders, potential backers,
Yeah.
they're all looking for something a little different, right?
Yep. You have to tell a story that resonates with them, show them the value, prove there's demand for what you're offering.
Right.
But
It's not a one-person show, right? You need a solid team to bring that vision to life.
exactly. The guide's really clear about that. A strong team is absolutely essential, and not just people who get your vision.
You need diversity, different skills, all that.
You got it. But I know what you're thinking. Early stage startups, budgets are usually pretty tight.
Yeah. Hiring a bunch of superstars right off the bat. Not always realistic.
And the guide gets that. It suggests some workarounds. Think about offering equity in your company, or flexible hours, remote work options.
Smart. Those are perks that attract talent. People who want to be part of something, not just punch a clock. I've always felt that a team's energy can really make or break a project.
Okay, so you've got your team, the funding's coming through, time to launch, right? But talk about nerve-wracking. Putting your baby out there for the world to see.
It is. But remember, the guide talks about the MVP, minimum viable product.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that term thrown around, but refresh my memory. What is that exactly?
Think of it like a stripped-down version of your product, just the core features. It's about getting it out there quickly.
So, like beta test almost.
Sort of. But the point is to get real feedback fast without waiting for everything to be perfect. But that means criticism. Are you ready to handle that?
Criticism. It's tough. True, but the guide flips the script on this. It says that feedback, even the negative stuff, it's gold. It shows you where you need to improve, helps you build what people actually want.
I like that. Fail fast, fail often. Right. Better to make those mistakes early and adjust course than spend a ton of time and money building something nobody wants. Okay, you launch your MVP, feedback's rolling in, but how do you even get noticed?
Now we're into marketing and branding. The guide emphasizes a strong brand identity. Think logo, mission statement. Your online presence has to be top-notch.
And then there's social media, SEO, paid ads. It's a whole other world.
It can be. But the guide recommends starting simple. Focus on a few key things. Social media. Build that community. SEO, get found organically. And those paid ads, they can give you a boost early on.
All good stuff.
Sure.
But how do you break through the noise? How do you stand out? Especially when you're just starting out.
It's tough. The guide has some good tips, though. Think about partnering with influencers. Word of mouth is powerful. And industry events. They help you network and get your name out there.
So much to think about. But it's inspiring, right?
Yeah.
Daunting, but inspiring. What about the hurdles, those challenges that every startup faces?
Well, they're coming. But the guide preps you for them. Competition, cash flow, scaling. It covers them all.
Okay, so break each one down for me. What are the big takeaways?
All right, competition. You got to differentiate yourself, constantly innovate. For cash flow, it's all about managing that money wisely. Know where every penny goes, make sure you're making a profit, and scaling. The guide says, don't rush it, focus on quality, keep your customers happy as you grow.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Pace yourself, play the long game.
Yeah,
But how do you stay motivated through all of that? Can't be easy.
it's not. But the guide has a whole section on this. First, celebrate those small wins. Those little victories keep you going. Second, build your support system. Mentors, advisors, friends, family, they can pick you up when you're down. And finally, never stop learning. Stay curious. Keep up with the latest trends.
Wow, so much wisdom crammed into this guide. Launching a startup, it's a journey, full of ups and downs. Be prepared, be flexible, but most importantly, have the courage to keep going.
Beautifully said. And as Winston Churchill, who the guide actually quotes, said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So for all of you out there dreaming big, taking that leap, it's that courage, that drive to learn and grow that'll define your success.
So get out there and build something amazing. We'll be right here cheering you on.
Every step of the way.